On this episode, Pat Henneberry, a 1984 graduate of Benedictine College, joins me. She is an author, an athlete, and a diamond executive. Which do you think was the hardest to accomplish? Join me to find out.
I worked for De Beers Consolidated Diamond Mines, so I was able to go to South Africa and crawl around in the diamond mines and the platinum mines and really experience a whole nother side of the diamond industry, right from where diamonds were mined to putting diamonds on a hand.
Welcome to Always a Raven, a Benedictine College podcast that goes far beyond the brick streets of Atchison, Kansas. Hosted by Janelle Menz, Always a Raven offers a unique glimpse into Ravens from all generations. From where are they now to remember when, these conversations share career triumphs and personal milestones. So whether you are an alum looking to reconnect, a prospective student, or simply curious about what makes Benedictine College so special, join us and discover the enduring power of Benedictine College.
Hello from Benedictine College. Welcome to Always a Raven podcast. I am your host, Janelle Menz. I'm thrilled today to welcome Pat Henneberry. Pat is an author, an athlete, a diamond executive in the jewelry industry, and most importantly, she's a Raven. Pat is the class of 1984 and currently resides in Texas. Thank you so much for joining me today, Pat.
Thank you, Janelle.
Well, we got to start at the beginning. So what brought you to Benedictine College in the early 1980s?
Well, I think my sisters went there. And of course, I would go up for, I think they called it Little Brother and Sister Weekend.
I'm sure.
And of course, I went up for that and always had a blast and just assumed I would be going to Benedictine. Yeah. So
no question about it.
My sister Carol, she was 4 years older than me. And then my sister Joanne, who graduated in 78. My cousin Tom graduated in, now I'm messing up. I'm telling him I can't keep track of everybody. My sister Carol, my sister Joanne, who was 2 years older than me, my cousin Tom, who was a year older than me, my cousin Karen, who graduated with me in 84. So, and then my brother-in-law, Bill Klasinski, he graduated with my sister Joanne. So they were just a couple of years older than me. And there were a lot of Henneberrys on campus.
Right. So do you know, like, the first one, like how did they hear about Benedictine back then? It was so much smaller and so, yeah.
Yeah, the first one, well, my brother-in-law, Bill, his father went to Benedictine, and I don't know he's 94 right now, I believe, 93, 94, and he went to Benedictine. As far as my immediate family, my sister Carol was the first one, and she was a cheerleader at Benedictine and was very involved with everything. Joanne played on the tennis team. So, a lot of us got very involved.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. It's true testament to legacy and just the generational connections. Because you mentioned before we hit recording that your nephew is here. So, I mean, it just shows the lineage of all that you guys created here.
Bobby is there. Bobby Klasinski, big shout out to him. He's a freshman, runs cross country and track. And I guess that makes him the class of, is that 2028?
Yes.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That's so hard to believe.
Shout out to St. Augustine because he's on the third floor. I was on the third floor my freshman and sophomore year. And
back then it was a women's dorm, right?
It was the women's dorm at the time. Right. And it had a lot of my close friends today were on that third floor in St. Augustine. We had quite the floor.
I think it's so true. Cause even I, when my freshman year lived in Memorial and that's the same. I mean, our second floor and even our third and first floor too, like we all just kind of bonded, and that 20 years later, here we are, and we group chat and all that stuff all the time, and we do a reunion and all that stuff. So there's just something so true to it. And I think it's just so cool to think like you were here in the 80s, I was here in the early 2000s, and even the students now, like it's just so prevalent to the roots that it was all founded upon. And your brother-in-law's father probably could say the same darn thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. So when you think back, you were mentioning some of your girlfriends from back in the day, like are there some core memories or stories that stick out with you and stay with you through the years?
Oh my gosh. I'm not sure if I can repeat some of them. Um,
The 80s, we know what happened in the 80s.
we had really great times. I know that we got very involved. If it was Rockhurst weekend, which was a big competitive weekend for us, that was huge. We'd have Wheaties and beer in the morning. Rockhurst weekend was like huge. We would have the bed races across town. Do you guys still do that?
Yeah, they do. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, we always won. I'm sure we did. I'm sure we did.
Even if
We
you didn't, that's the story you'll tell.
yeah, that's the story I'll tell. We just really always we were involved in something. I mean, sometimes good, sometimes not so good. I think one year we decided we were going to take all of the flags at the Atchison Country Club golf course and put them around campus. So that was probably something we got in trouble for.
Start a
But
golf course on campus, or what was the
well, we took the golf course
flags?
flags at the golf course in Atchison and we put them around campus.
Just cause. Why not?
Just because.
Why
That's
not?
right.
Yeah.
We
Talk
just
about Wheaties and beer. Like, was Wheaties like a hot rage of a cereal? Like, like why Wheaties and beer?
it could have been cornflakes. It was whatever they were serving at the cafeteria at the time. But instead of milk, we started off with
Huh.
beer in our Wheaties because
And is
Rockhurst weekend was a huge competitive weekend
yeah.
for us.
Is
Yeah.
is it good?
I haven't had it for about 45 years, but
That's not in your daily routine anymore.
no, but I'm sure it was good at the time.
Yeah, I'm sure. And even if it wasn't, it's like something you just had to do, right? Like it was a
Right.
tradition back then,
It
and you just
totally.
sucked it up. I guess. Oh,
I
that's
think Teresa
hilarious.
Kobe started that. Maybe Julie Dwyer. I don't know. I'm calling them out on that.
We can give them that flag.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you're at Benedictine for 4 years, and you came from Iowa, right? That's where you were
Came from
raised.
Iowa,
Yeah,
just like
great
you,
state of
Janelle.
Iowa. I know. We bring the best here from Iowa, right?
Yep,
So
yep.
you come down here, and then you're here for 4 years, and did you what was like your dream job, or what were your aspirations as you were navigating all the things at Benedictine?
I wish I could tell you I had a dream job at the time. I just needed a job.
Yeah,
And my first job, I was working in Kansas City it was MoPub, I think they called it, Missouri Public Lights or Electricity. And I was their head of their communications. Basically, that meant I did their newsletter. I
sure.
did some cool things though. I mean, when there were livestock warnings, I was the person that went on the radio to tell them that it was too hot for the livestock, or there was a flood here or there. So it was kind of fun. But then I moved on and got a job in Austin, Texas, and that's where I am still today.
And had you ever been to Texas, or was it just kind of a leap of faith, or?
It was a leap of faith. I had never been to Austin, Texas. Yeah. And at the time, I didn't know it was a cool city. It is a very cool city, especially when I moved here about 35
Well,
years
sure.
ago. It was like, I mean, live music everywhere.
Yeah.
At McDonald's, there was live music. I mean, we are the live music capital of the world. And still to this day, you can find a lot of live music. It's a little different. It's just not all over on the street corners. but
Yeah. Wow.
it's they say keep Austin weird. That's our kind of slogan, which is just a super fun town to be in 35 years ago.
So
Yeah.
you didn't know anyone, or did you?
I didn't know anyone. No, no.
What year was this? How did you find this job?
Well, they found me, and I was the class ring lady from about Waco, Texas, which is where there are a lot of schools there, all the
Mm-hmm.
way to South Texas, down by Brownsville, down by the border of Mexico. And I sold high school class rings and went to all the high schools and had a blast.
Interesting.
And
Wow.
eventually worked my way into the diamond industry, which is really where I've been for 30 years.
And
Yep.
is that like if you would flashback back to Benedictine and St. Augustine third floor, like would you have thought like I'm gonna be in a diamond executive or like
Nobody, Janelle, would have said Pat is going to work in the diamond industry. Maybe I was going to be a sales rep for Speedo or
oh
Adidas or, but no, they never would have guessed me. I never would have guessed me. I
yeah.
call it my accidental career.
Yeah, but you know what? Sometimes you fall into what you're passionate about and you don't even know you're passionate about it until you get into it.
1000%.
Yeah.
What really happened was I fell into the marketing side of diamonds,
Mm-hmm.
and I fell in love with marketing and learning and development. So I ran a training team, and we would go out and launch luxury brands on the retail level. And it was super fun. It was all this kind of rah, drink the Kool-Aid,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to do really well if you sell our diamonds kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it was a blast. And that really is my personality. And it's kind of where I'm landed today. Yeah.
Yeah, you through your book, My Soul Showed Up, you can feel your competitive spirit not only as you talk about your races and things you've done, but also just within your professional career. So it doesn't surprise me that that's kind of what kind of got you railed up and got to continue the motivation through the years. The diamond industry, the jewelry industry, from someone who's not in it and has never been, seems pretty cutthroat. Would that be true?
It is. It has been. It's a tough industry. I feel very lucky that I got into it and I learned a lot. I've been able to work. I worked for De Beers Consolidated Diamond Mines, so I was able to go to South Africa and crawl around in the diamond mines and the platinum
Wow.
mines and really experience a whole nother side of the diamond industry, right from where diamonds were mined
Yeah.
to putting diamonds on a hand. So
Yeah.
I've consulted with brands like Tiffany in New York and helped launch some of their stores. And so it's really opened up. It is a tough. I've also consulted with diamond dealers, some of them very difficult, some of them not so much, but it's has taught me a lot. It
Oh, I
has
bet.
taught me quite a bit. Yeah. But
So
hey, I was the first female president of Benedictine College. So that prepared me for everything, Janelle.
totally, absolutely. That was my next question. That's amazing. So you really were like,
Yeah, I really was. Yeah.
wow, well,
Yeah.
I can say I followed in your footsteps then.
No way.
Yeah.
I love
Not
it.
that it stopped at the president of one of, at Benedictine, not
Yeah.
in the diamond industry, but very cool. That's awesome. So tell me
I love
about,
it.
okay, you're digging through the dirt in South Africa, you said. Like, what's going
Yeah.
through your mind as you're doing that?
Well, you go, gosh, I wish I could remember. I think it was over 3 miles into the center of the earth. You take a very shaky elevator and you have hard hats on and special equipment. You're carrying oxygen on your hip. Uh,
Holy cow.
Center of the earth, it gets cold. You literally, when you do land, diamonds are found in what they call kimberlite. I won't go into a big diamond conversation, but gold or platinum is gold is like a vein. So you follow the vein in caves. And De Beers, at the time, we were the largest consumer of dynamite. We would dynamite these humongous tunnels where literally the wheelbase of a truck that had the wheelbase of a 5-story building would be in these tunnels. So once you got into the tunnel, they were huge. We had little cantinas, you're walking around, there are lights. When we were in the gold mines, that's different. You're crunched down, you're crawling through small spaces, and usually you can't wait to get out.
Well, yeah, that's what my thought is like, are you like, okay, I just need to survive this? And then every once in a while you're like, oh yeah, reminded that why I'm doing this. You see a glimpse of gold, or like talk about that.
I fell in love with the story of diamonds, how they were mined. I fell in love with how the diamond industry really has helped employ over 10 million people in South Africa or Botswana, where, still to this day, we're building schools, roads. Diamond mines are in some of the most godforsaken areas of the world, like an amoeba doesn't even exist. I mean, it's not a beautiful forest or something, especially in like Botswana or Namibia. In Namibia, we actually vacuum up diamonds off the floor of the ocean. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. And but they're constantly doing good abroad, and natural diamonds I have a huge affinity for. So,
and that's probably the part of the story that's sometimes left out when people just see the shiny object, and they don't understand that there's a whole, or they don't think there's a whole nother side to the coin, if you will. That's amazing.
Yes,
that's amazing.
Yes.
Let's talk about your book, because I think your book's obviously a part of your story and a part of your professional and personal world. What I loved about it, Pat, was it was just so honest and thoughtful and real and just truthful. And you could tell it wasn't, I don't want to say raw, because it was polished, but you could tell it just came from your heart, so much so from your heart. So, you said that you didn't think you'd be a jewelry executive, and that's not what you thought when you were going through your years here. Did you think author, was on your bingo card?
It wasn't, but I think deep inside, Sister Jeremy and Sister Faith were my English teachers and journalism teachers. And I remember Sister Jeremy saying to me, "Don't stop writing." And I never, ever thought of myself as a writer, and I never dreamed of writing a book. I actually started writing a thought leader book for my industry. And when I had my I guess back accident, I was diagnosed with a spinal disease that after my spine decided to basically shift away from my lumbar and rupture multiple discs. It was like the shoe fell off walking into my house. And my publisher at the time said, you need to shift. You don't need to write a thought leader book. This needs to be a personal growth. This needs to be a book, memoir in your stories. So that's kind of how it all shifted.
Wow.
Yeah.
Was there a little bit of so maybe let's, for those listening that haven't read your book, just share, a synopsis of it. You kind of touched on it here just a second ago, but I'd like to know, after you do that, like, was there a little bit of healing that went through that? Because I know that it was such a traumatic experience.
I would like to say yes. And I am sure if there was a therapist involved, they would be telling me yes, because they always want you to journal, right? And they want, and the difference between my book, a lot of people write books 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road from an experience they had. It was tough for me to write it because I wrote it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So as I went through 8 surgeries in 6 years, and I I'm still in rehab. When I was going through all the surgeries and the diagnosis, and I was writing, and it was difficult to do at the
Mm-hmm.
time. It probably did help me in the long run,
Sure.
uh, to write it and journal my
Mm-hmm.
time. But yeah, there's when you say the book is raw, yes, it is raw, and I do have some language in there that I'm sure everybody listening to this has heard before.
But it's such a what I loved about it when I read it was like you almost felt like we were there with you going through it. So you really do such a good job of making you feel like making us feel like we're on the journey with you. And now that you say that, you know, you were going through the journey after your back broke and just the day to day, what day to day life was like, you know, how do you feel like when you look, I mean, obviously you're still in the midst of the recovery and all of that. How do you feel that it has changed maybe your perception or how you're navigating life right now by having it kind of summed up, if you will, in a book and all written down? It's not just in your memory,
Yeah,
it's all written down.
yeah, it's kind of a tough question, but I get letters from people all over the world every day,
Oh, I bet.
who've read my book, and I wrote it in hopes to connect with others who've faced similar challenges.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I'm answering your question. I I'm glad that I've inspired readers who are going through similar struggles or just any kind of struggle in their life. We all are going to have hard times, right? All
Mm-hmm.
of us. It doesn't matter. It's just a matter of when and how we respond to those
Mm-hmm.
situations. And when I wrote the book, it wasn't that I was going through these aha moments. As you know, it's not a book where I've climbed the mountain and I've put my flag on top of the mountain, right? And I have done it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like high five, and I'm still going through it. And I think that's the same with many people who have struggled through, you know, a divorce or losing a child or losing a job or having a dire prognosis, whatever it is. Um, we need to try to develop resiliency that allows us to navigate the difficulties that come with these tough times. And I think writing the book, I just felt kind of driven to share my story and trying to find hope and resilience against difficult odds.
Mm-hmm. Almost and it almost it felt, I'm sure, impossible odds. Yeah.
There were definitely times, and I still have those times, trust me,
Sure.
where I'm like, you know, I'm 4 months post-op, having 8 nerves removed from my spine in hopes to they all my surgeries have been up at the Mayo Clinic, but my last 2 have been at it's called Total Pain Solutions in Omaha,
Mhm.
Nebraska, and there's a excellent excellent cluneal nerve specialist, Dr. Aguila, who actually knows a Benedictine
Really?
and, is, connected with some people there, and, he's a studying to be a Catholic deacon.
Awesome.
He's been a godsend, and his team are amazing, and they really help people with these cluneal nerve issues, which is another podcast, Janelle. We'll
Sure.
go down that road another time. But it was really God sent how I met him and how familiar he was with Benedictine. It's very cool.
Yeah, isn't that just amazing, the testament to Benedictine's culture? And you know, it's hard to put your finger on how we are all so connected, whether it's directly or, you know, 6 degrees of separation, if you will. You know, it's just amazing, and then how that comes to us in such almost unexpected but such prominent ways in our life, such as this doctor for you. And I would be surprised if you would not agree that just him even saying, "Oh, I'm familiar with Benedictine," probably gave you a little bit of a peace of mind,
Oh, it was great. I
right?
believe at the time he was consulting with someone from the school. I hope I had this right, for the possibility of a medical school
Yeah,
there.
it wouldn't surprise me at all. Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah,
he said he was consulting with some people and even was interested in possibly in the future, teaching
that's
a couple
amazing.
days a week there.
That's so
So
great.
it's very cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
very
What I
cool.
loved about, when I was first handed your book, it just made me smile before I even opened it. And I kept smiling while I read it, but before I even opened it, just the title of My Soul Showed Up, just I think is so true to Benedictine, because people show up for you here and they always do, and they show up in different ways, and I think that doesn't stop after 4 years, and that's such to the heart of community. And what I loved as I read your book was how you, not only just in reading your book, saw you take Benedictine with you, that spirit with you to Texas, and all that you've done when you had your accident, your initial accident, and your neighbors showed up for you, and it
Oh,
was just
yeah.
really beautiful to see how, how we act is reciprocated, usually tenfold when we need it. And that's just to the heart of Benedictine and who we are, right?
Well, I think that is, Saint Benedict, he was all about hospitality to
Mhm.
strangers, right?
Mhm.
And his teaching that all guests should receive as Christ. And I just love that. I love that.
Yeah, it's just and that's can pretty much stand the test of time no matter what the world throws out there for us to consume, right?
Yeah. Definitely.
As long as we show up,
Yep.
and when you stop showing up, and that's one thing that's, here, Benedictine has gone from, 500-600 people when you were here to over, close to 2,300 people now, and that heart, that magic, if you will, that root is so deep that it just keeps growing, and it's
Mhm.
so true to who it was so many years ago. So as the years go by, is there someone or something that you now realize as an adult that had a greater impact on you than you maybe realized years ago?
As a student, what you don't realize is the foundation that you are getting at Benedictine. And I'm part of this, Amy Menace. She was in my graduating class of 1980, and she started a rosary group. And it's something I look forward to. All of us gals get together and say the rosary once a month, the
That's
first
awesome.
Monday. And after 45 years, it's just a reminder of our foundation that we got at Benedictine 45 years ago. We've all had different lives, totally different lives. I'm crawling down diamond mines and somebody else is having 5, 6, 10 kids. And, it's like, but we come together and that foundation, there's that, no matter what, that similarity that we all got
Mm-hmm.
in those 4 years. So it's very special. A story, when I had my surgeries up at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, they did some special ways to build my spine back up. And one of them is they use your own bone marrow to build your spine back up. And they literally put it in a blender with some epoxy glue, and then go in and try to. So they take my own bone marrow, and
Wow.
so Mayo, I'm on their website, and a friend of mine who graduated with my sister and brother-in-law at Benedictine, Monica Sherman Peter, who married Greg Peter, who played
Mm-hmm.
baseball at Benedictine.
Mm-hmm.
Monica was a basketball player and a tennis player. Anyhow, I knew her and we were friends. And fast forward now, 45 years, we hadn't really talked. And she went on the Mayo website to research spinal fusions because she had to have one.
Oh my.
And she reached out to me and said, "Are you the same Pat Henneberry that went to Benedict?" And I'm like, "It's me, Monica." Now we talk at least once a week.
No
She's been a
way.
huge support to me through my journey. I think I hope I'm a support to her. We're almost like sisters now. I mean,
Oh my
she's
gosh.
yeah, I stay at her house on my way driving from Austin to Des Moines. She stays at my mom's house if she goes up to Mayo. Like it's pretty special. But if it wasn't for that foundation that
Right.
we already had from
Right.
Benedictine, and she was a couple years older than me, but again, she graduated with my brother-in-law and my sister, and it's just really cool how those things happen, right?
It
That
is. Yeah. And the only way that I've been able to put my finger on it, I came here in the early 2000s and didn't know anybody, and came about 7 hours away. I was from Northeast Iowa, and I 20 years later, what I've just been ruminating over in my head is like, you come here and people see something in you that you can't see yet. And so
mhm,
when they bring that out in you, they see actually you and you see you. And so you have this bond that is unbreakable because they helped you figure out who you were and who you're made for, what you're made for. And I just think that's about the best I can articulate it. Not sure it makes sense, but perhaps it makes sense enough for me to say it out loud, because that's really, I think, why 45 years for you, 20 years for me, and so many others just have that. You see each other and it's almost like your reaction, Monica, like I ran into somebody that I wasn't friends with really, and I ran into him not that long ago since being back at Benedictine, and I was like, oh my gosh. And I mean, in the normal world I probably wouldn't have reacted like that.
right, right.
So I think that's pretty amazing, and just how it overlaps in so much of our world and our lives if we let it. And that's really the beauty of what we have here. So you are a true Raven through and through, Pat, and I think you're a testament to the heart that is Benedictine, and to showing up when
Showing up.
regardless of what life throws at you, you catch it all. So God bless you for all that you do and all that you're doing. I would love to hear that TED Talk when it comes out, so please share it with your Raven family.
Yes, we will. And one more thing,
Yeah,
keep praying. Prayers don't expire. That's what I tell everybody.
yeah,
Prayers don't expire. Keep
right.
praying.
That's you know what? I've never heard it worded like that, but I'm gonna repeat it.
Yep, yep, yep.
Well, thank you for joining me, Pat. Have a great day. Enjoy that weather down in Texas and stay weird.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, Janelle.
Hey, thanks for joining us on Always a Raven. New episodes will drop every Tuesday, and you're not going to want to miss any of them because we've got some pretty amazing guests coming up. They are reigniting the hearts of Ravens throughout all generations across all industries, and they are incredible. Be sure to like and follow us on your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss any episodes. And if you're a new Raven or a potential Raven, be sure to check out our website at benedictine.edu. And remember, once a Raven, always a Raven.